All right, Chef Chad, whenever you're ready.
All right. So welcome everybody. My name is Chef Chad Cherry. I'm your host throughout this cooking demo. This is gonna be another amazing one in the series that we've done with you guys in the city. Today, we're continuing on in our restaurant flip situation. So the first time we did a restaurant flip, we flipped spinach and artichoke dip. We made it into an entree that was amazing. So I'm like, okay, well, what do we do next, right? Like, I didn't want to show you how to make a steak or something boring from a restaurant, but what's been really popular are egg rolls. I know right in Miami Gardens, we got a spot that's all they do. They do the soul roll, it's the egg roll with collard greens and other stuff in it. I know people do Philly cheesesteak egg rolls, but all across the country in restaurants, egg rolls have become very, very popular. So I want to show you guys how to do this. This is not complicated, but there are some tricks. There are some little things we're going to walk through. And as always, because I know some of you guys have a level, some haven't, right? Some will work for me, some haven't. I'm going to go through step by step by step, and we're going to break it down. If you have questions, do not hesitate to either come off mute and ask the question or drop it in the chat, right? We're not always watching the chat, so if you really need it, let's come off mute. So let's start out with what I always start with, which is the name of our dish, okay? We are going to do grilled steak and avocado egg rolls. And so I'm going to show you our ingredients to go with those. So obviously, egg roll wrappers. I don't know if you guys are able to find this, but you can find this in most groceries right now. They have egg roll wrappers. They're actually pretty common, okay? Then we have skirt steak, which I'm going to play with first. Okay, skirt steak. I'll tell you why as we get going. All right. And we have our stuff to go inside. Our avocados, a red onion, our guava paste. I couldn't find queso fresco, so we're using Munster cheese. Our cilantro, sun-dried tomato, coconut water, and a few other small ingredients, but those are your big ones, all right? So, like I said, this isn't a difficult one, but what happens is you have a lot of prep. So with that prep, let's go ahead and start a couple of things. So first and foremost, we know we're going to be frying egg rolls. So let's go ahead and let's get a bowl and let's just put some paper towels in here. So we have a landing pad for when our egg rolls come out, right? That's ready. Put that off to the side, okay? Next, I might as well just bring my bowls over, all right? Next, we have our cilantro. We're gonna use fresh cilantro. Fresh cilantro tends to be a little bit dirty. So to make sure that we've got it right, we're not giving ourselves anything too dirty, we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna soak the cilantro in water. Now, a lot of times they tell you to just run this under cold water on your faucet. However, that doesn't really get into the middle and really get that dirt out of there. So I take an oversized bowl, I soak it. Not a problem, right? We're gonna let that sit for a few minutes. We're gonna let all of that dirt come out of there. I'll show you at the end, there's already some that's falling out. We're gonna put that aside because we don't need that immediately, okay? Like I said, this is all prep here. Now we have our steak. Now I got strip steak, and let me glove up as I say this. I got strip steak on purpose, right? I wanted something that was going to cook quickly and still be really flavorful. And yeah, the skirt steak that's about one of the best ones for that. The other steaks tend to be too thick, okay? Now, if you've ever used skirt steak, you will know there's only one issue. He's got a lot of muscle. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna open it up. I'm only using my left hand to open it up. My right hand is not touching the meat. We're just gonna put it into two big bowls. We're gonna immediately discard the packaging. What we're gonna do is we're going to season this up. We're gonna get this ready for work really, really fast. So I have my steak seasoning. Okay, literally my steak seasoning. I have my own seasoning blend. But you guys are welcome to use any custom blend you like. I'm gonna sprinkle some of my steak seasoning on there.
What kind of seasonings are in there? Like if they wanted to use individual seasonings and combine them together.
Beautiful question. Obviously, garlic, onion, thyme, rosemary, some Himalayan pink salt. What else, babe? I got about 8 things. A little bit of pepper, some smoked paprika, a few other things. But the garlic, the onion, the thyme, those are probably extremely important for steaks. Rosemary, some sage, like the herbs. You notice we only have a little bit of Himalayan salt, and it looks like I'm using a lot. I have 2 large pieces of meat. I'm sprinkling. It's actually not as much as it looks. It's really good. And I'm going to show you another trick because we've got to speed up the infusion of the meat, the flavor infusion. So normally you just, you season up meat, we let it sit. You add a little bit of liquid and it helps the meat infuse it helps the seasoning infuse the meat. I'm going to add a little bit of our rice wine vinegar.
Does it have to be rice wine vinegar?
Nope.
What else could?
But vinegar, because it's an acid, will help start break down some of the muscle fibers.
Mm. So like Worcestershire.
Oh yeah, Worcestershire. You know what I mean. I don't even have any out here. Some Worcestershire sauce. If you have balsamic vinaigrette, right? Once again, that's a vinegar base. That's really good. But because we'll be using some of these flavors in our sauce, I'm repeating them in our steak. So we use the rice wine in our sauce. We're going to use coconut water in our sauce. So I'm putting a little bit on a steak. You can use regular water. Coconut water has a little bit of sweetness. So it's giving it some flavor, right? Oh, there's also pepper. Pepper is a really important component in any steak blend. So
steak blend, like black pepper or pepper or hot pepper.
I use hot pepper as well, spice, but black pepper, right? There's a reason why salt and pepper has endured for forever, right? If you notice, I didn't put enough liquid in there to cover it. Mm-hmm. It's just going to really help transfer all those flavors, and I'm going to let that sit. So
if we wanted to, could we just like leave this in the refrigerator overnight?
You absolutely.
And then it would be like more flavorful. You know what I always...
You can. Also, one other thing. Sorry, no, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say one other thing about the vinegar. Because we pulled this straight out the package with steak, vinegar also helps to get our meat where it needs to be. I wouldn't mind putting a little bit of lime and lemon on it, but I don't want to change the flavor profile too much for this.
Okay. So my question was around.
I'm gonna take off this glove.
Haha, I let you go first, and I'm like,
you forgot your question. Yeah, that's why I was like, hey, baby.
And it was actually something I don't know. It was like something I was curious. Oh yes, woo! Now I remember it. All right. So if we're gonna leave it overnight in the refrigerator for it to marinate.
Yes.
Are we using less vinegar and seasonings because it's sitting longer? Or does it not matter? Okay.
Doesn't matter. So it's just the longer the time period, the stronger the flavor. Okay. So we're doing a really quick one, which is also why I look like we use a little more seasoning because we've got to rush it. We just don't have the time, right? So we fall back, right? So we prepped almost everything, okay? Mm-hmm. We've got our steak, we've got our other stuff.
I had some folks that just joined. Do you mind just like really quickly going over what we prepped?
Yes. Once again, welcome. I'm Chef Chad Cherry. We are making a grilled steak and avocado egg roll. All we're doing is we're getting stuff together. So in the kitchen, this is called mise en place. It means everything in its place. I already had my bowls out. I had everything ready. So one of the first things I did was I started soaking my cilantro, which you can see right here. That's to get all the dirt out. Cilantro is really dirty. We went ahead and we kind of did a very light marinade on our skirt steak. Okay. And I got a bowl ready to receive our egg rolls for when they come out. That's just all mise en place. Once again, getting everything where it's supposed to be. We have multiple ingredients we've got to work down. We have to make a sauce. And we've got to make the filling for the egg rolls. Then we've got to fry the egg rolls. So while it's not complicated, we've got to hustle. Onion, okay? And some avocados. Those are up next. So we're going to move those to the cutting board. So just to show you how to cut an onion real quick, if you don't know, we are going to cut cuts off. Now, in this case, these are the ends of the onion, okay? So cut both sides, okay? Cut it in half. Ooh. And discard. Now you're gonna discard this whole first outer layer, right? Don't worry about it. Get it all out of there. You don't need this. The whole layer has got to go.
Why red onion? Can I use yellow onions,
Absolutely.
Vidalias?
You can use
Is it
yellow,
just like a
you can
flavor
use
choice?
Vidalia. It's a flavor choice. These red onions are a little milder, which is why you notice if we're eating a fresh salad, people put red onions on a fresh salad, just fresh red onions, because they're not as pungent.
Yeah.
But they're really good. So for this, we're just going to do some nice slivers. And for the slivers, we're just going to cut straight down. We're cutting with the grain. Nothing too crazy, right? Nothing too crazy. Slide those off, right? Just some slivers. So once again, we're just going to cut straight down. So, right? And I'm trying to angle my body and the knife so you see it. Now, when you get to the end of this, flip it over. Give yourself surface area so that you don't accidentally cut your fingers.
Which I have definitely done before.
Oh yeah, cutting off the tip of your fingers is more than possible. Now, I know I said avocados were next. I'm thinking better of it. They are not. You know why?
Why?
Because I don't want them to oxidize and turn brown.
Okay.
So let's save the avocados so right before we're gonna make our filling, okay? So we've got our onions prepped. We have our steak prepped, right? What else do we need to do? We need to start on our sauce, which will open up the way for us to grill out our steak, right? Which will then open up the way for us to start, prepare our oil to fry.
Yeah, and then with the sauce on the recipe that we shared, I know that we were telling folks to do it in a food processor or a blender. You totally can. Chef wanted to make sure that he was able to show you a different way for you to do it. So on the recipe, thank you very much, Chef. Trying to angle this properly.
Sorry. So on the recipe, right?
You can go ahead and use a blender or a food processor. If you do not have one, I mean, most folks have a blender.
Most have one.
But if you do not have one, here's an alternative to doing that.
Because we're going to use a sauce pot instead of a bowl, just because with sauces, since I don't have a blender, adding a little bit of heat will just help liquefy it, right?
We have a blender.
I've got multiple, but I'm trying to make it less complicated. So base of our sauce is our guava paste.
Where'd you find the guava paste? I mean, you can find them anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Walmart. Yeah.
Anywhere. They're really helpful. This is actually a vegan option. It's gluten-free. So that start is amazing. That it's vegan, it's gluten-free for all the people that are that want to make a sauce for friends that don't partake, right? So let's open up our sauce here. Let's open up our guava paste.
We don't have to make the whole thing. I mean, that's going to make a lot of
This makes
sauce.
A lot of sauce. Thank you, babe, for catching that.
Right.
I'm used to making quantity, though. I make it for like 85 to 100 people.
You make it for family, for us too, because you don't want to have to cook every day.
Don't tell them my secrets. Don't tell people.
Well, I'm actually telling on myself. I'm saying that I don't prepare food for myself.
I don't want to cook every day. You would honestly, just for dinner, half of that.
Yeah.
Right? However, we're going to eat that sauce on multiple things. So I'm using the whole sauce item, right? I'm going to turn this on to low heat, and I'm going to start adding in little things, right?
Slide over here.
Okay. You don't have to go. I'll keep bringing it back over. I'll show you.
Yeah, the angle's a little.
Sorry, I'm just putting it on low heat, right? Low heat. We're gonna use a little bit of oil, just so it doesn't stick, right? It's about 2 tablespoons is what we put in there.
What kind of oil?
That is, oh boy, that's tough. That is olive oil. Now remember, olive oil is a low heat oil, okay? So about 2 tablespoons. It's already sticking because that's what it does. So I should have probably put the oil in first. That's okay. Let's spread that oil around. Okay. Now, normally when you're adding butter or something to a sauce, it's acting as an emulsifier. In this case, the oil is really just helping us. it's helping us
Break
break it
up
down,
that,
but it's
yeah.
not really an emulsifier. That's the conversation. This is your key ingredient for this sauce, coconut water, right? This guava paste. Can y'all see? Oh, let me show you how thick that is. Look at that, dude.
Could we use
That
guava?
thing
Could we use guava jelly?
You can. Well,
Okay.
this is a guava jelly.
Well,
It's
I
a
guess
pure
I
one.
meant.
Just something
Yeah,
that's
but
if you can find something easier to work with,
although likely wouldn't be gluten free and
it
all
might
those things
be-
because they may
because it
put
may be
other.
processed already. This
Got
one is more of the unprocessed, so I went with this.
Got it.
That's why I was saying the coconut water is really your secret ingredient. Okay? And this is why a food processor is also your friend. We're going to use the whole can of coconut water. Right? And that's going to start to rehydrate it. And as it's heating up, it's breaking down. Okay? So I'm not going to work with it too much here. I'm just going to start breaking it. Well, I am. I'm going to start breaking it apart to let that water start to infiltrate and get in there. Okay? And while we're breaking this apart and letting that rehydrate, letting the heat work it a little bit, I'm going to add in my other ingredients. All right?
Cool.
So,
And if you had young people, I feel like this is where you could potentially get them
always.
involved.
Always. And this is why, so when we show you stuff like this, it's because we want you to show you the lengths that we go to as chefs to work for you. Okay? So when I'm making a sauce, I'm adding in our rice wine vinegar. Now I added in a couple of tablespoons because I'm doing the whole thing. At home, you'll use less, right? We work as chefs to get you where you need to be when it comes to food and sauces. I'm adding in a little bit of garlic.
That garlic powder.
Just garlic powder.
So there's no salt in that.
And I said red pepper flakes. I have a seasoning called That Heat. You gotta have a little spice. So we're gonna add this in. Now, this it's gotta heat a little bit. There's not much we can do until it gets warmer, until this water starts to whittle it down. So that means that we are going to set this and forget it. We're gonna move on to something else. We'll come back to it in a second, okay? All right, so with that being said, a couple of things we can start doing. One is, let's go ahead and drain. Let's pull this out. I'm actually going to pour this. Just so I can let my.
Can I get rid of that for you?
If he's like, absolutely. Thank you. See, that's why you gotta have a sous chef in the kitchen. She's getting rid of that. We do need this dry. So now that it's soaked, we're just gonna let it drip dry, just using the colander. There'll be some excess dirt that breaks out, right? And we do have to start prepping two other items that we're going to need, which is gonna be our queso, our cheese, and our sun-dried tomatoes, right? I am gonna go ahead, I found their halves with Italian herbs, and they're packed in olive oil, which, as we know, we're using in a couple of different things. So that flavor is awesome, smells great. Let's go ahead and let's pour some of that right over, some of the extra oil right over our steak. That won't hurt anything. That'll just be goodness, okay? That'll just be goodness. That's it. We're gonna take some of these out of here. We're just gonna start working, right? So with the sun-dried tomatoes, we just want to cut them up a little bit. With our cheese, it's the same thing. We just want to cut up a little bit of it, right? Now, these are going to be a great counterpoint in terms of flavor. And they're kind of in that jar there. They're going to be a great, that's not what scissors were meant for, I know. But they were.
Chef, can you slide over this way a little?
This way?
The cutting board, please.
Yes.
So we can be a little bit more in the frame.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Move everything over. Is that better?
That is better. And this is a good point to pause and see if anyone has any questions.
Yes.
I'm going to check the chat.
Check our chat. Sun-dried tomato halves.
Someone wants to know they can use apple cider vinegar too, correct?
You can. It's a lot stronger, so just use a little bit less. Okay? Apple cider vinegar is amazing, but it is a lot stronger.
All right, so if there are any other questions, feel free to come off mute.
Yes,
Chef.
please. And I'm just dicing this. Nothing too crazy. It's a rough chop. I'm just chopping it. As I was saying, that's going to be a great counterpoint. Okay? Counterpoint means opposite. Great counterpoint to our avocado flavor. All right? And I just handed my wife a little bit of a whisk just to help agitate. You're going to need a spoon. Spoon and whisk. Agitate. She's going to do some agitation for it. Cheese. Now, my cheese has gotten a little hot because we're in South Florida, and in the kitchen studio, he's a little hot. Like I said, I couldn't find my queso fresco, so I'm using Munster. Any white cheese that's kind of milder in flavor, but still really good flavor, that's what you want, okay? Ooh. And we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna be putting this stuff, and I just took, y'all didn't see that, don't judge me. You saw it? Yep. The funny stuff. We're just gonna slice our cheese here, and we're gonna put our cheese and our sun-dried tomatoes into a bowl, okay? And then our avocados are gonna go in there, and that's gonna be the start of our mixture. So as you see, I just made some vertical slices. Now I'm just coming the other way. Don't worry about trying to slice the cheese small. That is unnecessary. These cubes are perfect, right? If we were making another dish, this would have to be way smaller. But because we're going to be putting this inside of an egg roll and stuffing it, we want that to melt. We want those ooey gooey kind of like pull apart areas. Ah, man, that's what we want. So we'll put the sun-dried tomato right over top of that, right? Get all of that in there. Now we're gonna see if we can get our avocado up and open. Let's go ahead and check these avocados. I got them today. They're not super ripe. I can squeeze a couple of them. When you get the avocados from the grocery store, you want to try to find the ones that are a little brownish, brown and green, and you want to give them a little squeeze. If they're slightly malleable, they should be good. That doesn't always work though. Sometimes we get avocados that aren't ripe and they are very difficult to work with.
Unless you fry them.
Unless you fry them. Now, fried avocados, that works out perfectly. I think we're going to be doing some of that for our Juneteenth celebration up in Jacksonville.
And you can shallow pan fry them, right?
You can shallow pan fry them as well. So with the avocados, you notice I just cut it right down the middle. I'm just rolling my knife. Now you guys, please family, do this on a cutting board. We get it in half and we twist. So that's actually pretty decent there. So once again, right? Once again, I take the tip, this little seed, I just took that out with my nail. We're gonna come right down the middle here, and I'm gonna show you how to roll it on the cutting board. Right? Twist, we're done. Okay, we have to get this seed out of here. So a lot of times you can take the tip of your knife and you can use that to get the seed out of there. And it's gonna roll. And it's gone.
Where did it go?
I'll get it later. All right, I'm just using the tip of my knife. There's another one. I don't mind though. I really sincerely don't mind.
Don't mind the avocado seed rolling out?
I don't mind the seed because, man, that seed just be getting in the way. Sometimes the seed leaves a little waxy film. If it does, make sure you take all of that out. I'm using 2 avocados. I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to score, right?
What kind of avocados are these, by the way?
Hass.
Hass avocados.
Hass avocados.
Can I use a different kind of avocado?
You can.
But it's not going to be.
Flavor ain't going to be the same.
Got it.
Okay, I don't know what they doing down in Mexico, but they got that right. The avocados. Hass avocados. Good stuff. All right, so you make the verticals, then you come across and you make horizontals. Almost like a checkerboard. Listen, and you want your knife to go all the way to the skin. When I say all the way to the skin, push it in until you feel the back of the skin, okay, of the avocado. So once again, let's do it again. We're gonna come straight down, right? Don't go through the skin if you can, because you don't want to cut your hand. And you should be doing this on the cutting board. I just want to show you. We're going to make a checkerboard. Checkerboard. Okay, if I can get you on the camera, I'm going to do one on the cutting board, just so they can see it. Okay. So we're coming straight down. Make sure your knife is touching the skin. Don't go through the skin. And don't be afraid to spin the avocado. I don't know if that's an actual game somewhere or something, but
It's not.
I like using it.
I'm pretty sure it's not.
It's not? You sure?
I'm pretty sure.
And listen, it could be a game somewhere in the world, man. They may not have little toys, and spin the avocado could be like a pastime or something. And I'm just turning this way. All right. Now, once you've done that, you can lift up. Once you have it like this, to remove it from the skin, we're just going to take a spoon. We're going to insert. And see, some of them are already falling out. Lift, drop. Insert, lift, drop. That's all we're doing. We're just using the spoon, we're just getting it out of here. And that's a quick and easy way. You have to go back in sometimes because you leave avocado in there. You can really scrape the skin if you like.
And then you can use the skin as a plate.
Absolutely. We can use it as a bowl to put stuff in. That's amazing garnish. This one's not coming out as easily. All right. All right. Now, avocados are in. Let's go ahead and let's season this. Okay. Let's season our mixture. That way we can kind of keep our avocados returning. And that's one more thing we can take off our checklist, and we're ready to go. Okay, so with this, I want to use some roasted garlic, just a couple of sprinkles. Okay. And this is where in the recipe it calls for the all-purpose seasoning. I'm using some of my Southern fried chicken seasoning. It's just so good. Oh, there's a little bit of wind where I'm at. Okay. And lastly, because I don't have any lime, you know, lime and avocado are perfect. I'm going to just add a little bit of vinegar, just because, not too much, just because I want to make sure that the avocado doesn't oxidize too fast. Now, oxidize is where it starts to turn brown. Okay, we don't want to do that.
So how did you prevent that?
I just added a little bit of vinegar.
Okay.
Just a little acid because I don't have lime. If you have some lime, that's the easiest way. When we're doing these, I try to minimize the amount of ingredients that I have to ask you to go out and purchase. But if you've got a little bit of lime, you're good to go. Yes. Let me switch real quick.
Hang on, there's something going on with my camera. Here we go.
So you see how the sauce is starting to get a really nice color in there? All of these little pieces, you remember that was one block. Now there's just a couple of little pieces. The heat, the liquid, it's all bringing it together and it's making a nice sauce. So this sauce, making sure it's not too hot to sit down, you just need to continue working this sauce. Okay, when we say something like working the sauce, we're just talking about just get in there and whisk it, break it up, right? Just continue working it. We'll come back to this in a second because right now, we don't need the sauce yet. We can finish our sauce in a minute, okay? If you have a food processor or a blender, this is done in 30 seconds. Okay, so we're letting that work. Let's discard our avocados, put these extra. We're gonna start frying our steak. However, before we do, I'm preheating my skillet. I'm gonna move this over. I am preheating my skillet. And while I'm preheating my skillet, because that's what I need for my steak, I'm gonna go ahead and prep what we need to roll our egg rolls. Now, when y'all saw egg rolls, honestly, how many people were like, yo, this might be a little complicated? I don't know.
I definitely had my reservations and protested just a little bit.
She's like, why do you want to do egg rolls? I was like, babe, trust me, it's so quick and so easy. And once people see it, they'll love it. Trust me, quick and easy. So that's,
I mean, it's good as a party tizer. The summer's coming up. You can make it for kids, or if you're gonna have a pool party or something. It's just good for everything.
And if you want to get really crazy, you stuff it with like some mac and cheese and some other stuff. Oh,
that is true. Egg rolls are very, very versatile. You can literally stuff them with anything.
It's a closed sandwich.
Be good to go. It's not.
It kind of is.
It really isn't.
Agree to disagree. My skillet is now hot, guys. Let's go ahead. I'm going to do my thinnest piece of meat because you're here with me for a short amount of time. You see there's a little bit of fat on this side. You can always pull off this fat. I like it. It adds some flavor. But when you put it into your skillet, put that side down first. Okay? You hear that spear? Put that side down first. And to speed up the time, go ahead and just cover it. Okay? Cover it. We'll flip that in about 3 minutes. Like I said, skirt steak quick because it's thin.
And if you had a grill outside,
oh my gosh,
which we do, but it's just too hot.
It's too hot. And we have to move the camera outside.
Yeah.
This is just that.
You know what? We should do a grilling class.
We should.
Although it'd have to be like in the evening.
Sure, I know. Y'all see us, right? We can get this grilling class going.
Yeah.
All right. We get sidetracked, y'all. Let's bring it back real quick. So this is my first bowl, and this is just water. Okay. This is my next bowl, and we need to do eggs. Now, here's what's interesting. I only need the egg yolk, okay? So if I only need the egg yolk, how do we separate those? There's several things that you can do. I'm gonna show you what I think is the easiest way. Y'all tell me. So I just wanna get my egg yolks in here. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna use the side of my spoon, get a good crack. 2 hands, just to make sure I don't get too much in here. And I just crack it onto the spoon. Now we're gonna separate, right? So you can just kind of, whoa, see, now you're acting up. But that's okay, because it worked out. All right, the spoon, you can use any slotted spoon to do this. And then you just have your yolk. Okay, the whites.
You never showed me how to do that.
Well, see, now you learned something new. Now the whites, right? If you were making a traditional mixture, like a pork or a beef egg roll, you would put the egg white mixture into the egg roll, into the mixture. So I'd actually put it into where the avocados and stuff are.
Oh.
But because we're using steak and avocados and cheese, the cheese will act as a binder. So
okay.
We're going to discard our whites. Unless you want to eat them in the morning and make an egg white omelet. So once again, same thing, right? Side of the spoon, good crack. Hold your spoon up. Come on. Right, separate the eggs. Make sure you don't get any of the shell anywhere. And now let's see if we can't do this one a little smoother. Smoother. I'm from New York. We don't pronounce things the same way as everybody else.
Okay. And now your cutting board is contaminated.
That's fine.
You're done with it.
I'm good with it. I'm done with it. Done and done. Okay? 2 things. Now, because that was contaminated, we'll go ahead and I'll switch out. All right? I'm going to actually use the heat from the steak to decontaminate my spoon. But I was touching the handle, so I'm just going to go ahead and wipe the handle and wipe this little piece of the cutting board. That's why we keep some Lysol wipes. You see my meat is already brown. What was that, 2 minutes? It's already brown, right?
It's a little more than 2 minutes.
3 minutes maybe? Go ahead and flip it. Come on, please. That's why you don't flip it.
Ooh, I like that
You see
color.
the char, right? So it's starting to burn off some of that. I'm just gonna let the heat kind of
Yeah.
take care of our spoon, right? Technically, about 20 seconds of that kind of heat should sanitize any surface. We're gonna give it about that time. We're not gonna wait for it. And during then, I'm gonna go ahead and just sanitize the top of my pot again because I touched it. I'm gonna re-glove and we're going to move on because we haven't even got to the exciting part. All right, that's about good. Guess what the exciting part is, folks? Rolling the egg rolls. So let's put this here, right? I don't want to touch anything, even just in case. We're just going to move these to the side. We'll need those in a second, okay? We have to only cut one more item. That's some cilantro, and then we can roll egg rolls. Now,
Okay.
cutting cilantro, our cilantro should be mostly dry, but you can't, because you soaked it, it may not be. So just take the cilantro, wrap it in a paper towel, y'all, and just,
You got egg on your cutting board.
I know.
But is it okay because you're gonna cook that?
Exactly.
Okay.
So my wife is asking a very, very important question. I got egg on the side of my cutting board, right? I did wipe it with a Lysol wipe, but can I use that for something that potentially may be uncooked? Absolutely not. So what we're going
Sorry.
to
I'm sorry.
no one saw that.
No one saw that.
No one saw that.
And I did not laugh at that
You didn't, babe?
on a recording
Sure.
during a
All right.
demo. It was an involuntary.
Listen, we're gonna get rid of this egg roll, and I'm gonna this cutting board, and I'm going to make sure to not cross-contaminate anything. Got a little space down here for it, right? So I've got a whole cutting board, but I want to leave a large portion of this cutting board clean for my egg roll rolling purposes. And I don't want to waste any more of my onion. Okay. So let's go ahead. You see where they tie the cilantro? And look, as y'all see, chefs make mistakes too. So y'all can laugh at me. I'm a big boy. I can take it. Okay. You see where they tie the cilantro? You can just cut that, or what I like to do is just rip it. You don't need these pieces. Unless you have a garden, then all that goes in compost. Rip. You don't need a heavy, right? You just need a coarse, just a rough chop.
And there are some people that don't like cilantro. It's like a scientific
It's a thing.
thing where some people think that cilantro tastes like soap.
But what is soap?
I don't know if
taste
there's
like?
I don't know if there's anybody, you know what soap tastes like when you
I was
if
not
you-
a special child. I did not eat soap. I don't know what soap tastes like.
you've
Nope,
You-
never ate it. Not ever.
you've been in the shower before
I got a little
and
soap.
got a little soap in you, like you have.
Absolutely not. I'm too tall. Okay, soap doesn't travel up like that.
Oh, so you're not washing your face? You're
We're
not,
going to have this discussion. Okay,
and you have cilantro on your nose.
do I? You just wanted to say something.
No, you really do have cilantro on your nose. I'm sorry, y'all. And yeah, okay, there you go. See, I still take care of you, even though you talk nonsense.
Oh, yo, the comedy is real, y'all. This is why you have to cook with people you love. Invite your family into the kitchen. It makes such a big difference. Look at that.
That's pretty.
That's pretty,
That's really pretty.
right? Let's put that over. Okay. Let's not waste. You see that char? That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Let's not waste any of this gravy. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's drop our remaining onions in.
I'm sorry, my
We'll drop our remaining onions in, okay? We will hit them with a little bit of the steak seasoning, just a touch, okay? I mean, just a touch, a little bit of steak seasoning. We are not going to stir these onions. Okay, we're going to cover this and we're going to move it because we're going to let the rest of the heat, the carryover heat, continue to cook. Okay, let that do what it does.
Can you just talk about carryover heat just like really quickly?
Well, that's why I said, because we don't know where everybody's at. Well, all of these basics, let's just cover them.
All right, so carryover heat.
When you remove an item from an oven or from the stove, that item, especially if it's in a pot, is still at the same temperature that it was on the stove. So in this case, this is pretty hot. This is a high heat. So this would be a 9 out of 10. This is a pretty high heat. That's how hot your item is. And so with it being that hot, you want to make sure that you're giving it time to cool down, which is why you ever heard them say, let your steaks rest, right? That's what you do. You let them, you pull them out, let them get on the counter and rest so the temp can come down, so that the juices lock in. And that's also how you don't overcook items. I'm not going to go into feeling your chicken today. I'm going to be good.
But you can say that that's why sometimes folks don't like to cook chicken breast, because it really isn't the chicken breast. It's just that you're leaving it in too long. You take it out when it's perfectly done and where you want it, and then it rests for a while at that same temperature, and now it's still cooking, so it dries out.
No one wants that.
Yeah.
No one wants that. All right, so all I'm doing is just making a little bit of space, okay? I'm down to my 10-minute mark, which means I've got to hustle. We still have to roll egg rolls and fry it. I put my oil on, okay? I've got my steak here. Normally, I would let that rest. I need to let that rest for another 30 seconds. Let's just finish working. Let's work the sauce really, really quickly to finish this up. And then I'm going to go ahead and we're going to actually back these egg rolls. I'm looking for spoon to use this one. All I'm doing is I'm using the back of the spoon to help break up any of the chunks. The spoon and the whisk is breaking up any of the chunks. Okay. That sauce is looking good. All right, can y'all see that? It's a nice little thick sauce. We're looking good to go. Sauce is done. Our oil is heating up. Our steak, whether it is done or not, it's got to be done now because we need to eat it. Okay. I'm going to use this top to speed up how fast my oil heats up, but I want to wipe off all the condensation first. If you're in your kitchen at home, just use a separate top, right? You don't have to reuse tops. But if you're doing like me, you wipe off the condensation because oil doesn't like water. That's not a fun day. Let's go ahead. Let's pull this steak out of here, right? Let's cut that steak. Let's get that ready. Now, the grain of a skirt steak runs this way. We want to cut against the grain, okay? You want to cut against the grain.
Ready?
Right? Cutting against the grain is going to cut down some of those muscle fibers. It's going to make it a little easier to work with. Now,
what did you get that? Is that like a medium well?
No, this is closer to a medium, actually. So look at the middle piece. This is definitely closer to a medium. And it didn't sit long enough, so what we're just talking about, all my juices are coming out. Yeah. The edges are closer to well, mid-well, but the center is closer to a medium.
Got it. And is that like by preference or, I mean, suppose folks.
I like to leave a little bit of juice. So I'm only going to cook my steaks if I can to about medium, mid-well, max. I don't like well done, right? That's just my preference. But everybody has their own preference here. And that's just, you got to go with what's right for you. And if you notice, I'm cutting big chunks because that's what seems to be right for this situation right here. Just going to cut some of those down some. It's going individual. Right? But you cook to your preference. That's what you do. You just find what you like and we cook to it. This looks about right. Okay. Do we have any questions, family, while we're doing this? Any questions? Any questions? Anybody?
Yeah, while chef is cutting, You can either come off mute or you can go ahead and drop it in the chat.
Yes.
I will check the chat.
And I'm just gonna slide this into my bowl.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Can I try it?
Sure. You just want to try a piece of the steak?
Yeah. Can I get like a burnt piece?
That's gonna be more challenging. Here, this has a little bit of char on it.
Thank you.
See, you gotta feed your wife.
I'm gonna ask a question.
Yes,
I have a question.
Sure.
please.
I remember you said the process is really fast, but it seems long to me. Is it because you're demonstrating?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's because it's a demonstration. You can also use the food processor or the blender in the beginning with the sauce.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Thank you.
Not only because I'm demonstrating, but because I'm going over all of the basics. I'm taking time to explain why I do this, why I do that, why we move this way. If I'm
Okay.
just cooking this, yeah, I'm done with this in 15 minutes if I'm just cooking.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get the recipe?
Yes, the recipe is there. And also too, I'm only using one burner. At home, I'm using multiple burners. I'm using my whole, in the kitchen, you're using all of your equipment. Here, I wanted to show you guys one-on-one.
Okay. All right.
So
You're doing a
speak
good
to it.
job. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. I appreciate you hanging out with me.
Thanks for your question.
Yeah. So I know that's a question a lot of people have. I just know that on cooking shows, people, they try to show you, oh, this is all you have to do. It's so simple, it's done. But they don't tell you the in-between steps. So what happens is when you go to recreate it, you're like, darn, I can't get it the way they did it on the show. Why can't I do that? I don't want y'all to have that issue. So I'm being really specific.
Can you
Okay.
show me the package just so that folks know what it looks like?
Yes.
Where'd you get it?
Egg roll wrappers, right? I did pick this up at Walmart, but they have them in all kinds of places. We're gonna lay this down. We're gonna wrap our egg roll and we're going to immediately fry it, okay? So you wanna place it on a diamond. That's the first step. Very, very important, diamond, okay? Take 2 fingers, right? Wet the edges. 2 fingers is about the right width. Okay? 2 fingers, you're wetting edges. That's just plain water. This is gonna be for sealing it. We're not gonna use that yet, but we will use that when we go to seal it. I don't wanna block your view. So I'll move that over here. We're gonna take our mixture.
Charnel said she has to drop off. Thank you, Charnel.
Thanks, Charnel.
Thank you, guys.
See you next time.
See you next time.
I can't wait to see what the final outcome is.
We'll make sure that you get pictures.
We'll make sure.
Well, I mean, you'll get the video, but we'll send you pictures too.
Yes,
Dropping
yes.
a couple of onions. Yep, I'm just dropping a couple of onions right in the center. Okay. I'm gonna put our mixture in. That's all you need, about a handful. We like them fat, so we'll do that. Okay. Squeeze it. Don't put it in the center. Put it a little closer to this edge. Take that piece right there. Roll it. Make sure that's tight. Take this edge, fold it over. I'm gonna have to take these gloves off, baby.
That's fine. We're eating them.
I'm gonna have to take these gloves off because I can't get it the way I want it. Okay, you roll it tight. Now we're gonna keep rolling it again. You see how there's a little edge? Fold that final edge in. Roll it again, roll it again. That's it. But what I almost forgot, the water will help it stick to really make it stick, right? A little bit of egg wash. Okay, I'm gonna do this again just so you can see it. We're gonna fry it up and we're gonna get to tasting it. This is why egg rolls are expensive. They're not, it's not complicated, but it takes a little bit of patience, a little bit of dexterity. The water helps it stick to itself, okay? Pull this in right here. I'm gonna make this one a little less fat so it can roll a little easier. All right, spread it out. First roll. Second roll comes in. You see that tight? This one comes in. It comes over. This is a good one. You see it comes over? Let's go ahead and brush it right now. Right? Let's roll. That's it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna test fry 2 of these while I roll some more.
4 minutes.
4 minutes. Let's see if this is hot enough. I think it's hot enough.
How long are we frying them for?
Since everything is already cooked,
Like a couple minutes just until it's brown?
yes. About 2 minutes on each side. We just want them brown. I'm gonna roll some more. I just want to be able to plate for y'all. So once again, diamond shape, 2 fingers on the edges, right? Couple of onions, not too many.
Are there any questions while Chef finishes up?
No questions? That's pretty amazing.
I'll leave some space.
Okay.
And just say that if you haven't added your name as yet, please go ahead and do that for attendance purposes. I think you're at your flip point, Chef. Do you want me to flip for you or are you good?
I'm gonna flip.
Do you have your plates already?
Yep.
Great. Pretty and golden brown. 2 minutes.
I like it.
I see you bought another plate.
Don't judge me.
Too late. All right.
All right, you see how it's bubbling? That's good. It also did not come open. That's even better. Right?
So
Oh, it's nice and crispy. I love
couple,
that.
just a question before we wrap up. If we wanted to make this vegan, are the egg rolls wrappers fine? Like, are they vegan? We'd have to look, right?
We have to look.
And if folks don't like egg, I mean, the water holds it together just fine, right?
Water does hold it together just fine.
And we could put some mushrooms in this. I could imagine
my
some
gosh.
squash, some zucchini. That is pretty. That's very pretty.
That's pretty. All kinds of good stuff right there.
All right. All right. So we are at time. We will make sure that y'all have the recording for this video. Alicia, we will let y'all know how it tastes, or at least I will let you know how it tastes, because that's my lunch.
About to go in and get it.
Thank y'all for joining us once
Thank you for your
again.
time.
Thank
It's
you
been
for
awesome to
constantly
have you.
thank you for constantly showing up.
Yes.
We appreciate you.
And we'll see you next time with another
Yeah.
restaurant flip.
Yeah. We'll hang around a bit if anyone has questions after. Thank you. See
Yeah,
you
because I've
next
got to
time.
make some more because the family's going to want to eat this. All right, we'll make a few more.